Do we want to get started, folks? Is that okay?
Sounds good to me.
6 o'clock.
Do we start with a salute to the flag? I don't think we do we?
No, not this commission.
Not this commission. Should
No.
we? It just occurred to me. Because I run the school committee meetings and that's how we begin the meetings. It just occurred to
Really?
me. We don't do that in the airport commission.
Yeah,
right?
it's just was never.
Okay, fine, that's fine. Okay. Do I hear a motion to accept the previous month's minutes?
I make a motion, we accept the minutes. I did have one question on it.
Yes.
Give me just a second.
It's going to take long.
Yeah, well, just a minute. Oh, that COVID-19 stimulus money, 23,000,
How much?
Yes.
$23,000.
Yes,
Okay.
That came right to the airport, is coming to the airport.
it is.
And what is our plans to do with that?
Got plenty of plans, Richie.
Okay.
Number one, we've got a litigation coming up that this
Yeah,
might help towards, because apparently we're only going to get 150,000,
Yeah,
from the FAA. But I mean, we need fuel, we need new roofs, we need new doors, we need everything.
okay, when I saw it, I didn't remember, I knew we had the grant coming, but then I saw that, I said, yeah, I remember the conversation of the monies and where it was earmarked for.
Right.
Okay.
But I have one question also, please, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, yes.
Mr. Scribe,
What?
solar farm, Peter Kettle nearing completion, waiting on 90-degree fuel nozzle.
Oh,
For the
maybe that was
solar
a cut and paste,
farm? For the solar farm.
possibly.
No, if you could take that out, please, and just put that on the solar farm, a letter's been sent to the procurement director with a proposal.
Okay,
Okay, thank you.
yeah.
Okay, any further questions or?
Yeah, no, I'll second the acceptance of the minutes with those, with the change of the 90-degree nozzle.
Okay. Motion made and seconded to accept the minutes of the previous meeting. All in favor?
Aye,
Aye.
Show of hands. Let me see the hands.
aye.
It is unanimous. Thank you. Action items from the previous minutes. I don't know if there are any correspondence to the commission.
Yes, we've had one letter.
Yes, go ahead, Peter.
I
Yep,
would like to read it, please.
yes.
It's following the protocol of somebody when they resigns from a city appointed appointment. Dear Mary D. Alderetti, in compliance with Mass General Law regarding nepotism, with my son Scott D. Cunningham being appointed a line person at the airport, I'm resigning as chairman and member of the Airport Commission. It has been a pleasure to serve. Respectfully submitted, Dan J. Cunningham.
Excellent. And
Well, he'll be missed.
I don't know if Dan is watching, but, and I will.
Dan is not watching, sir.
He's not, but I want to thank him for his commitment to the city. I mean, it's a job that that's so very, very necessary, but it also time consuming, and he was more than up to the task, and we appreciate all his efforts. And he called me today to offer any help that he may provide in other commissions or boards, and I certainly appreciate that. And I will be asking him to participate. There's always a need in other aspects of city boards and commissions. So I certainly will take advantage of that. I think we want, Mr. Airport Director, I think we want to take up nominations for chair of the Airport Commission. I call the motion open.
Well, I certainly would be willing to take on the task of chair. I don't know if I can motion to
I think we,
elect myself, but
Yeah.
I would be open to that.
all right, we appreciate that. I can make that motion, make a motion to accept as a nomination Mr. Richard Raymond.
I would second that.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor? Hands?
Aye.
I,
Excellent. Any other nominations?
yes, we would need we would need a co-chair and we would need, I don't know that I could do secretary and chair. So we would need a motion for a co-chair and a secretary.
Well, why don't we finish up on the chair? Are there any further nominations? You're saying we need to have a vice chair, so to speak?
Well, I don't know if we need to, but in the case.
I don't remember ever having one. Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't know if that's, Deb Silver, are you there? Is that something that, Deb,
Mr. Mayor, we've always had a vice chairman just in case.
we have,
the chair-
okay.
Yes, sir.
All right, again, nominations, do I assume nominations are closed for chair of the Airport Commission?
Yes.
yes, we voted.
All right, we voted, all right, and it's now that, so congratulations, Mr. Raymond, you are now the chair.
Thank you.
Do I hear motions for vice chair?
I'm currently filling that vacancy, so I don't know if you want to maintain.
I'll make that a second.
my
I will
present-
make the motion that you continue as vice chair, if that's all right with you, Rich.
And I will
Second.
second that for Richard
All
Liberatore.
right, motion made and seconded. Richard Liberatore is vice chair. All in favor? Hands?
Aye.
It is unanimous. Thank you. Now we're talking about secretary. Anyone interested in secretary? Mr. Genesi, perhaps, or Madam Walsh, maybe?
I would nominate David Genesi.
Oh, nomination for Mr. David Genesi has been made, and I will second that. All in favor? All in favor? Well, wait a minute. I should ask, are there any further nominations for secretary?
Make a motion, we close the nominations.
Motion made to close. Do I hear a
Second.
second? Motion made and seconded to close the nomination. We have the vote. Mr. David Genesi is the secretary. All in favor, show of hands.
Aye.
It's unanimous. Outstanding. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Genesi, for jumping up and offering your assistance so quickly. Okay. All right. Now, what do we're, Mr. Airport Director? Does that close the correspondence to the commission?
Yes, it does. But
Okay.
we just need to step back one point to the action items from the previous minutes.
Okay,
There are action items from the
Yes.
previous minutes, but they will all be addressed as we move forward by the items that are identified.
Yeah,
So we can move forward.
yeah.
all right. Now, the meeting is now in your hands, Mr. Raymond.
Oh, already?
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, you're it now.
Yeah, he knows how to do it.
Okay, well, thank you for the nomination. We can
May
start
I
with,
may I make a request, Mr. Chairman?
Sure.
I assume that you are running your recorder, the voice recorder?
I just started it.
Okay. May I suggest, I would assume that Commissioner Genesi doesn't have a voice recorder at the moment, so can you tape it and then get that detail to him for the minutes?
Yeah, I'll do the minutes for this meeting, for,
All right.
for March.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Okay,
So correspondence to the commission is complete, and now Gail is up.
Okay. So I'll start things off as my project is the first on the agenda. It's regarding the runway 1432 project. Not much of an update this month. I have been told by the electrical contractor that the electrical repairs from the lightning damage that happened last August are complete. We are currently awaiting the FAA to put us back on their flight inspection checklist, or I'm sorry, their schedule. Based on my discussion with Debbie today, the retainer that needs to be paid to the FAA will be sent out. Hopefully I'm not stepping on Debbie's toes here, but sometime on Friday. That will allow FAA to put us back on the schedule. I would anticipate a month to 2 months before they can actually get here. Once that flight inspection takes place, we can actually close out the grant and this project will be taken off the agenda. Action items, and forgive me, I'm winging it because I don't have a printout. I believe there was a request for the retainer payment to be sent to the FAA, which is in the works, so no action there from the commission. The second was looking for the supplemental agreement for Gale services to be sent to Mass DOT once that's signed by everyone at the city. Is there any update on the status of that supplemental agreement at this point?
My understanding is that it's with the attorney.
Okay.
Debbie, you're on mute. It's with the attorney at the moment, Nick.
Okay. No rush there. As I had alluded to, there's probably a month to 2 months before the project can be closed out anyways. So any questions regarding the runway project?
Oh, good.
Okay, not hearing any. I'll hand it off to Matt or Jackie, whoever's doing the talking.
Great, thanks, Nick. So Ms. Walsh and Mr. Genesi, I just want to introduce myself. I don't believe we have met yet. So I'm Matt Karen. I work with Gale Associates. Also work with Nick Ippolito and Jackie Marks, who is on the call this evening. Both Jackie and I handle the planning side of the house. Nick handles the engineering side of the house. The airport has been long awaiting to undertake an airport master plan, which is scheduled for this fiscal year 2021. We have had a scoping meeting with the funding agencies that occurred back in mid-January. We've revised that scope of work based on the comments that were received from the funding agencies. Peter, Debbie, I believe both of you were part of that meeting as well. We have a final scope of work, or a final draft scope of work, I should say, that I submitted to Mr. Kettle back on March 9th for distribution. It's my understanding that that was sent out to the commission on that date or around that time for everyone's consideration. We are looking to get concurrence from the airport commission this evening that everyone is on board with the scope of work, and I will get into that in a few minutes. The other thing that I do want to mention is most recently there's been some guidance that we've received from the FAA as it relates to the American Rescue Plan Act of 2021. The good news there is that there is not going to be a local share from the city to fund the master plan. The FAA is going to be picking that up at 100%. So that's really good news. The savings are approximately almost $17,000 to the city by them picking that up. So that's really good news. So other than that, I would just ask, before I get into the scope of work, does anybody have any questions with the scope of work that was distributed that I can address? Or Mr. Chairman, do you want me just to kind of give a sort of brief run through of what the Airport Commission can expect?
Yeah, I have it up in front of me. If you have a outline in your head to run by us, I'm fine with that.
Okay, so I have it in front of me. I don't want to bore everybody here. It is about 9 pages long. It's very standard. So typically what happens is in a master plan, there are a bunch of layers that build off one another. And what I mean by that is if you have the scope of work in front of you, and you flip to page 3, we'll get into an introduction of the master plan. We'll cover sort of the history of the airport, its regional setting. We'll include prior master plans that were completed, what those master plans ultimately conducted for the airport. Then we move into the inventory of existing facilities at the airport. Simply put, what we're trying to do there is just capture everything that the airport presently has, how it works, things like your runways, your safety areas, things of that nature, your geometric standards and things like that. Then we get into chapter 3, similar to chapter 2. This includes your existing environmental conditions in any of your sensitive areas. As Peter will tell you, one of the things we've been doing recently with him is identifying areas for potential non-aeronautical use, i.e. a solar farm. And in doing so, we're outlining and identifying areas that have wetlands that might be problematic for future development. That's critical to know, as later on in the master plan, when we start planning out future development and trying to lay out hangars, things of that nature, we're going to want to know where those sensitive areas are so that we can avoid those, or at least give the commission a heads up as to what they might expect for permitting requirements if they were to pursue, doing some sort of work, within the wetland or wetland buffer. Then we get into chapter 4, which is the forecast of aviation demand at the airport. What we're going to do here is take a look at things like your base aircraft, your operations, the number of operations per year, so we can get ourselves a baseline. We'll then work with the airport commission, anyone that may have information or additional pieces of information that we can use to build a forecast to say, hey, this is what the airport can expect to project for operations in the future. We do have some FAA resources that we tend to lean on to help us and guide us in that regard. But certainly anything that Peter may know locally or that other pilots at the airfield may know locally to assist us in building that forecast, so we can paint a larger picture, like I said, of what the airport may expect for operations. Because once we get through that forecast chapter, we're going to move into chapter 5, which is the facility requirements. So based on what the airport's presently receiving for operations, or based on what you have for based aircraft, or in the case of a demand for based aircraft, i.e. people wanting to come and build hangars at the airport, we're going to want to identify those in that chapter so we can, let the funding agencies, let the city know, let the commission know, hey, here are your needs if you want to accommodate additional based aircraft at the airport, or individuals looking to hang their aircraft at the airport. So that's chapter 5. And then once we have an understanding of what the facility requirements are for the airport, we start evaluating the alternatives. So what I mean by that is, let's say we know that the airport has a demand for hangars. We want to map out where exactly are those hangars going to go? How are they harmonic, going to gel with the existing hangars at the airport, where you have tie downs at the airport. We'll also consider things like non-aeronautical uses, getting back to the solar farm, or even other areas on airport property that may be able to be used for some sort of non-aeronautical use activity. So we'll map those out through that development of alternatives chapter and present those to the commission. So for example, we may give you 2 or 3 different type of hangar layouts to consider, and then ultimately the commission will let us know what your preferred alternative is, and that's what we'll move forward with. Then in chapter 7, we get into the schedule of improvements. So basically, we take all of those facility requirements, we take all of those alternatives that we put together, and what we're going to do is we're going to map out your short, your medium, and your long-term schedule to actually implement those projects. Quite frankly, at the end of a master plan, typically what needs to happen is we jump into an environmental assessment. So you need to comply with a bunch of FAA requirements and make sure that from an environmental standpoint, anything that you're proposing to build is in compliance with their requirements. So there's going to be some permitting that'll probably be involved in the development of some of these, aviation facilities. But again, we'll get into that as we start going through the master plan, and we'll give everyone a heads up as to what you might be able to expect and what makes sense for short, medium, and long-term projects. Then you have chapter 8, which is the airport recycling, reuse, and waste reduction plan. That's a requirement of the FAA as part of any master plan. I don't believe there's a robust recycling program going on at the airport. Perhaps there is in the city, but we'll cover that under that chapter and make some recommendations if there's not something already going on at the airport. Then jumping to page 7 here, where we have the airport layout plan. So the airport layout plan accompanies the master plan. Essentially what this is the culmination of the airport's preferred alternatives, all displayed on one large plan. The airport presently has an airport layout plan from the last time it updated its master plan. Any projects that the airport and city want to or are proposing to be constructed at Fitchburg Airport will have to be on the airport layout plan in order for it to be eligible for FAA funding. And we'll get into all of this and the details and stuff as we start getting into the master plan. But just right up front, you know, just because a project's on the airport layout plan, that doesn't necessarily commit the city or the state or the FAA to funding that project. It's on there as a placeholder, as a wish list, i.e. this is something that the airport would like to see in the future. Whether or not you actually get to that, it may or may not happen, and you could end up undergoing another future master plan that could change some of the projects on that airport layout plan. But again, Mr. Chairman, we'll get into all the details and guide you guys through that as we move forward on the master plan. Then one of the last pieces on page 8 here is the aerial mapping. So as part of the airport layout plan, we need to have all of your surfaces depicted in the airport layout plan. We need to identify where any obstructions are to some of those quote unquote imaginary surfaces that are associated with Part 77. So that piece is in here. As we're doing that, the FAA had suggested that we may want to take a look at some of the obstructions, or not even obstructions, but your current approach surfaces to see if there are better approaches that we can get for the airport, if there are departure surfaces that we can have published at the airport. So a lot of the information that we're going to be gathering during that aerial mapping phase is going to assist us in making that recommendation. And again, once we get the sub-consultants moving on all this stuff and we start getting the information, I think the meetings moving forward are going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to undertaking this master plan. I know this is something we've talked about for several years, and Peter and Deb can certainly attest to that. And I think it's really going to be a fun process for all of us, and I'm looking forward to moving the airport into the future with your plans and goals for the next 20 years. So again, with that, Mr. Chairman, if there's any questions on the scope of work, I'd be happy to address those.
Yes, I got a couple questions, but anybody want to chime in right now is fine with me. Okay, so my questions are completion time frame for the master plan. Is there some kind of a time frame?
So the grant application for this is going to be on May 3rd, 2021 of this year. We can't start the master plan project until the project is actually funded by the FAA because it's a planning project and there's some rules and regulations surrounding that. I would like to think that it would be funded sometime in June. And I suspect we could probably move through this in about 10 months if we move at a pretty good clip and we're meeting on a consistent basis, and sometimes maybe perhaps meeting twice a month on an as needed basis. A lot of the chapters 1, 2, and 3 we can get through those pretty quickly. Chapter 4 is a little bit more detailed because that's your forecast. That forecast chapter needs to go to the FAA for review and approval. So they're the ones that are going to want to take a look at it and see what we're forecasting for operations. They need to agree with that. So there's a little time built in there. And then quite honestly, it just gets into the development of alternatives and how long it takes the commission to process those and decide what your preferred alternatives are. So I would say maybe 10 months would be a realistic time frame to get it done from the time the project gets funded.
Okay, so when you say meet with us, do you mean meet with the commission as a quorum, as a special meeting sometime during the process?
Yeah, so as we go through the master plan, I'm assuming that the airport commission and everyone involved, everyone on the commission wants to be involved in this process. If that's the case, there's a quorum. My recommendation is we can do all of these meetings and these working sessions during regularly scheduled commission meetings.
Yeah.
Unless you have something else in mind, if you want to do planned meetings outside of commission meetings, I would just say if you have a quorum, obviously it needs to be advertised and probably televised.
Yeah. Okay, so 10 months from June would be probably best case, but probable.
I think so. I
Yeah.
do.
And just a side note, the number of operations that do occur at the airport, are those all counted on do we have a list of those every day, or how does that tallied?
You don't, there's some airports that have certain equipment, like the guard system that captures certain operations. I don't believe Fitchburg has anything to that effect. There is the 5010 data that's collected by the state, but that's not always as accurate. So there's going to be a little homework on our end, a little digging in on this to figure out what the historical operations have been, and see if we can get a pulse on what your current, base operations are.
Okay, and my final comment is, we have hangars that may have less than desirable building materials in them. Is that part of the master plan to identify that and have it removed?
We probably wouldn't be, we could make mention, if there's something that you would want us to make mention of in the master plan, in other words, if those hangars need to be torn down and rebuilt, that's something that we can discuss in the master plan, but typically we're not going into privately owned hangars and, calling out the materials and the building, quality and stuff like that.
Okay.
Just one comment on that, Mr. Chair. We
Yes.
do have one, I suppose it was a hangar in the old days, that's totally built with an asbestos inboard lining. And we don't go in that. It's prohibited. We've actually discussed with asbestos removal people, and the cost to take one down and actually get rid of the asbestos is something like $50,000 to $75,000. And that is developable land where we would like to put new hangars. So just bearing that in mind going forwards. Okay, and in a way, I just have to say that Gale are already involved in the airport master plan, because we've had meetings with the FAA and MassDOT on these new 7 buildings that are going on. And, I'd like to thank Matt and Gale for being involved in that, because they have all the historical data as well. So, it's already ongoing, even though it hasn't started before May the 17th. So just to let you know, so.
Technically, we're not writing anything. We're planning though.
Well, thank you.
Yeah,
Okay.
of course.
It's an added bonus that we have Gale with the continuity from the last, 8 or 10 years, maybe more. So,
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it's been longer than that, but Nick and I and Jackie have been involved for quite some time with this airport. So like I said, I know I'm excited. I know Jackie and Nick are excited for this as well. So.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Chairman, just to make sure that we're all on the same page, it's my understanding, like I said, that when we have chapters completed or certain sections completed, we'll bring it to the full commission and give a presentation and work through any necessary changes or comments that the commission may have. Is that a fair assumption?
Yes. So do you need a motion from us to accept this proposal, or is this okay at this time?
So what I need to have happen this evening, if there's no other questions on this, I would need a motion from the Airport Commission to accept the scope of work as written. And also because this project needs to go through an independent fee estimate, I'm going to need, and Rich, I can work with you on that and who you should use, because the airport does need DBE credits, and there's an IFE, an individual that conducts IFEs that is a DBE. So I think it's worth your while in using them. But we do need a motion tonight to approve the scope of work, and then probably a motion authorizing you to move forward to get an independent fee estimate. And what I mean by that, for those who aren't as familiar with what I'm talking about, anytime we're in excess of 250,000 of FAA funds for a project, it needs to, I think it's 250. Someone correct me if I'm wrong, Nick.
Can you guys hear me? Am I muted?
You're
No,
not
I
muted.
can hear you.
Okay. No, anytime a contract exceeds 100,000.
100,000.
The estimate.
Yeah.
Is required.
Right. So basically what has to happen, members of the commission, is our scope of work is going to go to the independent fee estimator. They're gonna take it, they're gonna assign a value to it. Where Gail's gonna go, and we're gonna do the same thing on our own respective end. We're not gonna know what the IFE is claiming that the master plan is going to cost to do, and they're not gonna know what we're gonna price this at. And then once you have the IFE's numbers back, Mr. Chairman, we'll then provide you with our numbers. And so long as we're within 10%, the FAA will accept that, and then we can move forward and submit the grant application. So the only reason why I'm pointing that out is because there's a May 3rd grant application deadline. It is now March 31st, so that needs to happen probably over the next couple of weeks here.
Okay, so we do have a bit of a dilemma here. I'm not sure that everyone on the commission has had a chance to read and go over this. So I don't know that I want to get a feel for the commissioners. Have they had a chance to read this?
Not completely. I mean, it's very wordy. But working with both Nick and Matt, the amount of time that we have, I really trust their judgment on this. And I'd like to see things moving forward now. I mean, the longer we wait, the farther, we push ourselves back. We've had enough delays. So I'm willing to make the motion that we accept that scope, as it's written, and continue to move forward.
Yeah, I am also ready to vote as well. And if the new commissioners haven't seen it, then
Yeah.
a no vote or a either way, I guess we'll see how the numbers fall. Is that acceptable?
Mr. Chair, the day I got it, it was sent to all the commissioners, including the new ones.
Oh, well, never mind then. Thank you.
And Mr. Chair, if there are any questions that come up from any of the commissioners, whether it's the newest commissioners or not, I mean, I'm always available to walk anyone through any questions they may have on it outside of this meeting. I'd be happy to take that call.
Yeah. All right. So if Richard wants to motion to accept the proposal, I second it with the independent fee estimate to go forward as well. So I would second that. Are we ready for vote?
All in favor?
Sorry, everybody went mute on me. It was kind of nice. All right, so yes, we accept it there, Matt, and we can move forward.
Okay, do you want me to coordinate with you later this week about that IFE? I can get you contact information and I'll get you some of these documents. You can forward those over.
Yep, my
Okay.
Gmail is fine.
Excellent.
Yep. Thank you.
All right, well, thank you. I appreciate it.
Keep rolling, Matt.
Hey, this is gonna be fun. I'm looking forward to it.
Hey, okay, keep rolling.
Hey, it's better than chasing easements and trying to clear trees.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that was the longest thing. How many trees are there in Fitchburg? Were you cutting them all down through Leominster or what,
Yeah, we went through Leominster.
I don't think we're ever gonna get that job.
Okay, I'm
You
sorry,
told
just give
Miss-
me a minute. I'm trying to take notes and I'm trying to run this meeting at the same time here, so.
Unitil missed one tree last Friday.
Yeah, I saw it. It was in front of my house,
That was up in your neighborhood, yeah.
but it wasn't my tree. I just want to be clear.
Yeah.
Okay, are we clear?
Okay.
Good. Matt, are you done with Gail's project?
Yes, sir, I am. We're complete. Gail is done.
Okay. Next is Airport Master Plan overview scope of work. D, solar farm is mixed in there. Peter, do you have any information on the solar farm?
Well, Matt does.
Okay,
I mean, I can take it if you want.
I mean, I appreciate being on the spot here. That's fine. I'll jump in.
You're not on the spot. It's item D on the agenda. You got the agenda.
Are we still on the solar farm? All right, fill in the blanks where I stumble, Peter. So my understanding is, Peter, you've been asking me if we can get some bid documents, beg, borrow, or steal. We've been working on that. I sent an email off to Maine DOT the other day. I have not heard back yet, so I'll follow up on that. It was done a little bit differently out in Sanford, so they didn't have those bid documents, so we came up short there. So I think we're just plugging away, trying to see if we can get some of those bid documents. I know Ibrahim from our office put together a couple iterations of plans showing where there's area for solar farm and then where there's area of wetland and other environmental considerations. So I think that's where we are at this point on that.
No, excellent. That's it. I'm going to expand on that when we get down into the old business as we move forwards. So, but I would like to go back to item B, please, because the self-serve fuel farm, we've had problems with it. We are still waiting for Dependable to come out and do some rectifications. We've had instances where 50 to 70 gallons of fuel's gone in absolutely perfectly. And then the next plane that comes along, absolutely zero. And investigations showed that there was cavitation taking place in the pump, and we closed a couple of valves off and it's working perfectly. But according to Dependable, you can't do that because one of the valves has to be automatic. So what we're waiting for is for them to come back. And Nick, you spoke to Frank, I believe, and he was supposed to be here last Thursday. He didn't come. Last Friday, he didn't come. And I haven't seen him this week either to actually do that rectification. So I'd like somebody to call them and get them back in again and put that new gauze in, please.
All right, I will follow up with the commission tomorrow after I speak with Frank from Dependable.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, so that was A, B, C, and D for Gail. All set? Fitchburg Pilots Association is on the agenda every week. Any updates that came to you, Peter?
Yeah, it did. Basically, I spoke to the chairman of the Pilots Association and his associates, and they have nothing to report at this meeting, but they're preparing something for next meeting. Don't know what it is, but they said we will be at next month's meeting.
Okay.
Peter, are they meeting every month still?
No, they haven't had the meetings for a while because of COVID.
Okay.
They've started to open up very, very small on Saturday mornings with the donuts and the coffee again, but, you know, keeping social distancing and everything, wearing masks. But judging by the latest edict from the city, then that could open up pretty quickly again. Because I believe we're opening up on the 20th of this month, Mr. Mayor. Sorry,
Yes.
Yes, thank you. Thank
We're
you.
opening up. We were going to phase in with by appointment, but we're going to be opening fully on the 20th. Gives us a little more time to prepare and get departments lined up for people coming back in and, you know, in earnest, as they say. So
Right.
that's
I
our
mean,
plan.
I thank you for that. I believe we should discuss that as a commission. I would propose that you discuss this on how we move forward with opening up the airport. Because to be quite honest, you know, working in here all the time, we're pretty on top of each other in any case. And outside, just outside where I'm looking now, there's maybe 10 seats outside. I don't want to open those seats up. I don't want people to go in there and talk and mix like they did in the past until we know that COVID's gone. But you're the commission, you're the people that have to tell me what to do. So these are these are both Debbie and my views.
Well, you know, Peter, what I would ask you is as the manager of the airport, if you could put together, you probably already have something, you and Deb, just what your plan is, how, you know, what would be required for a daily operation at the airport in maintaining adherence to the current protocols and safety procedures and whatnot.
Right.
So if you give these something like that, or actually give Steve Curry something like that, he can look at, he can digest and get back to you and say, this looks good. I suggest you do
Right.
that. And then
I'll do that tomorrow.
we'll get the stamp of approval from the health director, and that'll go a long way in
Thank you.
making it happen. Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna put an action item for Peter to get in touch with Steven on that, because I would like to see things open up just as soon as possible, but, you know, in accordance with whatever their protocol is, which may change on the 20th.
The main thing, in all honesty, has been the lack of the use of the toilet facility, the
Yeah.
bathrooms.
Yeah,
And we don't have any problems with that. It's just don't congregate in here and expect to have meetings and chats in this room. Once you're done, out, please.
yeah, maybe we could put thumbtacks on the chairs and stuff like that.
Well, I'm just going to take them out, to be honest.
Oh, yeah. Okay, that was a
Okay.
joke, but you might not
No,
have
I
gotten it.
know it was.
Yeah,
I know it was. Thank you.
yeah.
Mr. Chairman, why don't we just use bear traps instead of thumbtacks? Where does it really get them?
That's a little harsh, Mr. Liberatore. Yeah, I'm thinking tax would be better. They'd be more tactful.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, new business. Peter, you're on the spot again. Item A, Joe Spinelli plus additional 5 people, now 7. This is the hangar project that these 7 businessmen want to
Right.
start. So
It could be more. It could be more than 7 now. Basically, Gail arranged a meeting with MassDOT Aeronautics and the FAA, and neither of them have any problems in moving ahead of the airport master plan.
Oh, that's good.
So we had a meeting with their little group of people, and basically we walked them out to the 2 areas that were proposed. And if you look at, I doubt if you've got them with you now, but I did send all of you 5 or 6 sheets. And if you can just take those sheets and look at them whilst I speak to you, you'll see on the sheet 1, if you've got them in front of you, it shows the proposed land for the new hangars, which they don't want to use, because there are some wetlands over in that area, as Matt alluded to earlier. And basically, if you look into the center of sheet 1, you've got the green area with like that purple at 45 degrees section. Well, that is where the new ones are proposed. They're proposing using that area that we'd identified for the city to build the new T hangars. But without revenue from the city to build the new T hangars and invest, then I feel we've got to move on forwards and get money coming into the airport, because we've got to make money. So basically, that's where we are. They've employed a consultant at cost to them, no cost to the city. And I'm going to go, as we get further down the list, I'll go into where that is and what they're doing. So, you know, it's moving ahead very, very nicely. Everybody appears to be happy. They've looked at the agreement that the city has provided by Attorney Busateri, and they've made a few modifications to it and given me a draft to put in front of Attorney Busateri that they would be prepared to sign. Because in the past, people have said, oh, we're not signing this. It's too involved. There's too much to do. And why do we have to do this? And why do we have to do that? So they've had an aeronautical attorney look at it and make just a few minor changes to it. And I'm going to get that to Attorney Busateri within the next 2 days so that we can move forwards. All right. Now, don't forget that all of this, as it is, still has to go out to RFP. It's not just, well, that's what they want and that's what they're going to get. No, it's not, because it's going to go out to bid. And whoever bids the most will get the hangars. And that's the way we're operating it. So, okay, that's where we are with Mr. Spinelli and his people. All right.
Peter, to be clear, the RFP is for a land lease to put a proposed hangars on, not the hangars.
Absolutely.
Okay.
No, absolutely. Oh,
Yep.
yeah, no, I understand that.
All right. Any questions, anyone? Okay, next item, self-serve fuel farm, which we've touched upon, but
No, that's good. That's
Yep.
good. I'm happy.
all right, new legislative building.
Yeah, the new legislative building, I understand, and Commissioner Walsh can actually concur with this, that they've had a couple of city council meetings in there, and I believe it's all working very, very well. And we, as a group of airport people, have the opportunity to use that new legislative building to have the commission meetings in. And the good thing about this is that it's perfectly open. It's covered by Zoom cameras as well. Sorry, not by Zoom cameras, by FATV cameras. So anybody can check in to see what we're doing in that new legislative building. And to be honest, I think it would be good for everybody to go down there and use that building, you know, and get away from the airport for a while. My opinion. It's up to you guys where you want to hold it. So maybe Commissioner Walsh can throw some light on that.
Yes, I can. We met, the city council met unofficially last night in the new legislative building, and we worked through, you know, the technology, what's available, all of that. And my understanding, and maybe Mr. Mayor can clarify if need be, but my understanding of this is that that is available for use by other boards and commissions, but that city council and city council committees have first priority.
Yes, that's true. Commissioner, we're gonna be putting together a formal plan, what would be available in there and what isn't. Right now, my own feeling, and this, again, I think this is, it's kind of a moving target, but I'm thinking city council and school committee, that's it. The other boards and commissions, we have other spaces within City Hall where we can accommodate that. But I know the council would like to have exclusive use of that building. However, I think it's a little difficult to consider the fact you're going to use it twice a month and then nothing else is going to go on in there. I just don't see that as a good use of that space, obviously. So at the very least, I think a school committee should be in there as well, and maybe perhaps some other. But we want to try to keep it to a minimum. Certainly, the city council, that is they're the priority, and but we're gonna start out slowly, and we're gonna see how it works. We're gonna put together a formal usage plan, which most of it is going to have to go through the clerk's office, Mary DiAlderetti. So she'll have to maintain the scheduling of that building, or the boards and commissions, actually, whether they're in City Hall proper or the legislative building. So.
And Mr. Mayor, just to point out, I think there were some members of the council who were of the opinion that it should be for almost the exclusive use of the city council. But I think there were many of us, and I'm one of them, who said, you know, it's the only place right now where we have FATV, and, you know,
Right.
so.
Right.
And I would leave that up to the good judgment
Yeah.
of the mayor's office
And as I said, Counselor, it's really, it's not a good use of space. Twice a month,
Right.
I mean.
Right.
2 Tuesday nights, I mean, and the rest of the month, it's vacant. I mean, yeah.
No, I agree.
right.
I
Okay.
would confirm, Mr. Mayor, that there was an intention to sort of keep it primarily for the council, but at least for as long as is needed, and quite possibly longer, boards and commissions will be welcome to use the space whenever the council is not in need of it.
Thank you. Yeah, that'd be good. If you could work with us on that, that would be certainly ideal. Thank you.
Yeah, my comment on that would be if the space we have at the airport is not big enough to accommodate COVID protocol, and then the space at City Hall is, I would definitely like to get off the Zoom meeting and into
Yeah,
physical meeting. So at least for this timing,
the
it'll
the
be
north,
just for us to see each other again.
yeah, most of you folks haven't seen it, but the third floor north conference room is a glass that expands out and opens up. It's really a community meeting space. It's pretty significant in terms of size. We can put a lot of boards and commissions in that room, and it'll accommodate them given this, distance requirements, things like that. So
Well, keep
we're
us,
going to work on that.
okay. Thank you. Okay, item D.
Mr. Chair, I have my hand up.
Sorry, Peter. It's too late now.
Is that a virtual hand, Peter?
Go ahead, Peter.
I'd just like to add 2 pence, if I may, please. The airport has always been in the backlog area of the city, in my opinion, and I've been here for 18 years living in the States. And I think this is an ideal opportunity to give exposure to the airport and what's happening at the airport, particularly with all the development that's going to happen over the next 5 to 7 years with Gail's help. Just let's get it out there and let people know what's going on. I saw Mark Bishop's chat just come up a minute ago saying that he doesn't have details of what he's looking for. If I can just address that, may I address that? Mark Bishop, can you please actually email me tomorrow and I'll get you what you're looking for, please. If you understand that, then can you take your chat item down? So yeah, let's get it out there. Let's advertise the fact that the airport is a place to be, and we're going places. And I honestly believe that in the future, and not too distant future, the airport is going to be making a lot of money based on what's happening and taking place at the moment. So just my 2 pence, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Peter. That's a very good point, and you're absolutely correct. Okay, if there's any other item, anybody else want to comment on new legislative building? I don't see any hands. Item D, new lineman.
Yes, I'd just like to advise the commission that last week we appointed Scott Cunningham as the new line person. I'd like to welcome him to the team at the airport. He's got a lot of learning to do, particularly with safety, which is most important. And he's starting work tomorrow, which is going to relieve all of us with work that we've been continuing for almost the last 3 months without one person. So it's going to make it better for everybody. And that's why, obviously, our former chairman had to resign. Okay.
Yeah, no, that's good. I hope everything works out well.
Thank you.
All right. Item E, Airport Commission
Yeah,
Chairman.
we've done that, haven't we? We've actually done that. So
Okay, moving on to old business. I guess the S2 box repair, we just can't get enough of that. Did we receive the check?
we've actually received the check. So we can take that off the old business area now.
That is wonderful.
Oh, time.
Yep. Okay, item B, fill commissioner member vacancies. Welcome to new members. We have done that, but if you want to introduce yourselves to everyone right now, that's fine.
I'll go ahead. My name is Beth Walsh. I'm currently the Ward 6 City Councilor, and the airport is actually in my ward. So I'm very interested in I met with Peter this week, and he gave me a tour of the airport and showed me all of what's going to be happening there. And I think it's really an exciting part of an exciting time to be part of the airport, and I'm looking forward to it. So thank you very much.
Welcome. David?
And hi, everyone. David Genesi, new resident of Fitchburg, but not new to Fitchburg. I worked at the North Central Massachusetts Chamber of Commerce for several years as their marketing communications manager, which is how I'm very familiar with the airport and its impact, especially on the tourism side. I'm now currently the Chief Marketing Officer for Montechusett Home Care, which is based in Leominster, but of course I remain dedicated to Fitchburg and up to the challenge that Mayor DiNatale proposed for me as the Secretary of the Commission. So I take it in stride and happy to be here.
Well, again, thank you for volunteering. There's going to be a lot going on here at the airport, and it's dynamic. And thank you for volunteering.
Mr. Chairman, can I say something? And, I'm usually, I'm always very serious about everything, so bear with me. But I want to say, Beth Walsh coming on along with David. Dave's a very talented young man. And Beth Walsh, we know what she can provide. And it's just great to know that we have 2 more adults on the commission. Okay, so
Very nice.
reasonable individuals, thoughtful, and work hard. Thank you. And thank you for agreeing to do this. Appreciate it.
It was getting to a point that Mr. Raymond and I were thinking it was us no one wanted to work with. Peter tolerates us.
That may be
but
half of it.
I don't think anybody wanted to work with us too. So thank you. Thank you for helping, being part of our team.
Okay. Item C, drone presentation.
As you know, this has been stopped for perhaps the last year, but we're now seeing drones all over the place. One drone was right at the foot of WOM4 the other day when an aircraft was taking off, which is extremely dangerous. So the plan is to get the local DPW, the parks superintendent or whoever he's called, plus the police, and get them into our facility here and give them a presentation on drones and what they should expect going forwards with respect to drones. So we've had the presentation prepared now for just over a year, but we haven't been able to do it. So we're on it now, and hopefully by the time of the next meeting, we will have had a couple of sessions already on it, and we'll let you know how those go moving forwards.
Okay, good.
Okay.
So how about the no drone fly zones signs? Can they be placed soon?
They can, but the whole idea is to give the police and the parks areas the knowledge that they need.
Yeah.
When somebody comes up and says, what's that sign for? Then they can tell them, you know? So I thought it was better to keep them out as putting them up and have them knocked down and people just don't know what they're about. So,
Yeah.
you know, I think that was the best policy.
Okay.
Okay.
We
Right.
need to educate the public on the drone situation. I mean, like you said, everyone has one. I don't think a lot of people realize they're not supposed to be in the vicinity of our airport or any airport, but I don't think there's enough education out there. I think these people buy these things online and just, here we go, you know? And I don't think that they're, you know, whether we put something in the Sentinel to advise people that there's been dangerous situations in the past and it's ongoing, and that people need to realize that lives are at stake if they're flying their drones in our vicinity.
I agree with you, 100%. And 2 weeks ago, I actually sent a text to the manager of the Sentinel, asking him if he could make space, and I haven't heard anything back from him.
Yeah, I think that's one of the avenues we should reach out to first.
Definitely.
And
Peter,
like,
who did you contact? Who did you contact?
I've got it on my cell phone. I don't know the guy off by heart, but I can let you know. I'll text you who I contacted.
Yeah, please do.
Okay?
Yeah.
Will do.
Okay.
Okay, anyone else on the drone? Debbie? We cannot hear you. Or I
Know
can't
why.
hear you.
No, I can't hear.
Unmuted. Can you hear now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. One of the additional things that we planned on doing is also adding a page under the airport exclusively on education of the drones. Peter and I talked about, we have attended a couple of Zoom meetings, getting the education as far as people registering. There's so much to it. And as we learn it, we're planning on making sure that people have a place to go under the airport and click on it, and they'll know what they're supposed to be doing.
Yeah. Good. Perfect. Okay, if that's it for the drones, item D is solar farm. I think we've covered that. Or do you
No, we haven't.
want to add?
I do have something to add, please.
Okay,
If you look at sheet 5 of what I sent to you, the new plan that was done by Gale shows that there's an availability of 33.7 acres of solar farm potential usage, which I believe is going to double or triple the previous estimate that we had. So I've just been asked to leave the meeting. Should I cancel it? Okay, I've cancelled it, sorry. So yeah, if you look at, that was it, the green area on the plan that I sent to you all. So what we've done since, after discussing with Matt, is I've actually put down a letter to Mary Delaney, the Chief Procurement Officer, telling her that it's very difficult to get the technical specs because the technical specs are proprietary to the person that's going to build the solar farm. They don't want to give any details away because maybe they've got something that's more efficient on a solar panel than the next guy. So based on that, I believe that there's sufficient information together with what Gale is going to provide us with moving forwards to put out an RFP to get the solar farm up and running. So that's where we are with the solar farm.
so again, the solar farm RFP is basically a land lease
Yes, it is.
for the highest bidder.
Yes, it is.
Okay,
It's an area that we can't put anything else. Or we could just rope it off and let the deer roam there forever,
yeah,
because we've got a lot of deer on the airport, which we want to get rid of. And if we get the solar farm there, part of that job will be putting up fencing to keep anything out of the solar farm and hence out of the airport.
Yeah.
So
okay, anyone else comment on solar farm?
Peter, we still dealing with that same company regarding the solar farm, the one we initially made a proposal to?
are we what? Sorry, Richie, I didn't hear you.
When we first started our research in the solar farms, we were dealing with one company. Are we still, who gave us a bid? Are we still working with this person?
No, I haven't spoken to them since the time that I told him it's got to go out to RFP and
Okay.
started doing investigative work. But
Right.
obviously when it goes out, he will put his bid in and he'll most probably double it, So I think it's good to provide competition by the RFP to get the
Right.
best up for the airport.
I agree.
Peter, if I could ask, when do you think a RFP would be out to the public? Do you think you have a time frame, or would it be a guess?
Well, I don't have a time frame because I don't control certain departments.
Yeah,
So, as soon as we get the information from, was it the FAA, Matt, or was it from MassDOT Aeronautics?
It was Maine DOT, Peter.
No. Oh, you asked Maine DOT, did you?
Yeah, that
Okay.
was the recommendation from Allison up at,
Okay. All right. Excellent. So that was a week ago now?
that was this week that I sent them an email.
Oh, right. Excellent.
Yeah.
So we'll give it a week and then just give a little prod and remind. And, once we've got that information, we can put it all together, send it through to the procurement division and get the RFP out.
Yeah. So
So,
we're having a little trouble developing the RFP. That's where we're standing? That's where
oh,
we.
no, absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely, absolutely. Because
Okay.
nobody wants to give any information.
Right. So you want to
So,
provide enough information to get the RFP, but not so much information that you're stepping on other people's toes.
exactly, exactly.
Okay. Is there anyone else? All right, thank you. Land access rental, Leominster DPW, waiting for, if I recall, we're waiting for the DPW to provide a assessment for the land value.
That is correct. The assessor's been in there. He actually spoke to us. And basically that he's just got to write the report and get it to the DPW. And once he's got it to the DPW, they will be contacting us.
Okay,
And it's going to be like an appraisal, interim appraisal lease. So we're not selling the land, obviously, as you know. So yeah, they will be leasing it off us, and there's a certain area that they need. So I hope to get that at least by the next meeting. At least by the next meeting.
yeah. Peter, is that a land access lease, or is they gonna own, or are they gonna rent the land for the whole area that the pipe?
No, it's land access lease.
Okay,
A certain area of that large area that we purchased with the navigation easement money.
yeah. Okay,
Okay.
all right. That's it for old business. We go to the financial review, approval, commitments and abatements. In the past, we've allowed Peter to deal with that. Is there any updates that anybody wants to bring forward? Okay, Peter.
Well, I'm hoping that you're still going to do the same, because I just signed one off today and sent it back to the city. So I hope we're still in order.
Yeah, I had thought that was a continuance, but we probably should just address it each month just to know
That's
what's
fine.
going forward.
That's fine.
Okay, manager's operation report.
Yes, I have a little one this time.
All right,
With respect to the new hangars, obviously you can't just decide on a space to put something and then get on with it. So over this past week, we've been talking to the water division, the wastewater division, the gas division, and also the drinking water division. And we're talking to the people because we need to have a plan of where all of their lines and pipes are running underneath the airport. Because these new hangars do want gas, they do want sewage, they do want water. So, you know, we need connection points. And it's been quite difficult to get the information, but I was advised to speak to Nick Erickson.
Yeah.
Wonderful guy, very, very helpful. And he's directed me into the right areas. And I've been talking to Kyle Ridley.
Yeah, he's
And also a gentleman named Mr. Peter Reynolds. Mr. Peter Reynolds has been employed by this consortium of 7 people. Peter, I don't know if he owns the company, but he works for Mackenzie Engineering. And he's actually doing the work, you know, for Eric Sheffels and that group of people, Joe Spinelli, to come up with the design and everything else. And one of the critical things was the snow capacity for New England roofs, and also the wind capacity for New England doors. And all that's been passed to Peter Reynolds. So we're moving ahead, maybe not as fast as what everybody would like to be, but we're definitely moving ahead with it. And I believe that within the next 2 or 3 weeks, they'll come up with a proposal on what they want to do. And as you know, it's been approved by the FAA and MassDOT, and all it would need would be a little stamp to say, yes, go ahead. in conjunction with Gale and what they're doing with the airport master plan. And the good thing is that there are, I think there was 4 different sections. If you look at I'm going to take this one out. Just bear with me because I'm going to show you. This is the one that I sent to you last. Can you see that or not?
No,
I wonder why. You can see it
Pull
here.
it
can't
back. Yeah, pull it back a little closer to you. Right.
It's your blurred background.
Yeah.
Mhm.
you? Can you-
Okay.
Yeah, but you can see that, can you?
Yeah.
Can you see this point here? That is where the hangars are proposed to be. All right, so you all got copies of these, and I believe I sent them to you as well, Matt. So, you know, this is the plan that they're working on. So all being well, and it shows you the position between that and the existing T hangars that are here. Now, the good thing is we've got everybody that interested that they're also asking if we would be prepared to let them put up another set behind the one they're already proposing. So this is something for the commission and the airport master plan. So, you know, do we want them to carry on? Are we acceptable to consider this for them? Once they've got the first lot done, can they build the second lot? It's, you know, it's all good. It's all good for the RFP as well. So we are generating a lot of interest on this property. A lot of interest.
All right. My comment would be, obviously, we need their request for the size of whatever gas lines they need, water lines and sewer lines. Does the city should consider making those lines 2 or 3 times the size that they currently need, because there is future growth beyond those hangar proposals. So I guess there's quite a bit to dig into.
Is that a pun?
Yes. Now that you mention it.
Yeah, there is. There's a lot of work going on, and you know, hopefully we will bear the fruits in the not too distant future. So
Okay. So Eric Erickson, I'm sorry, what was the first name?
Nick Erickson.
Nick
And he works
Erickson
for
is
the
the city
city?
engineer.
Okay. And he's aware of the future development beyond this hangars?
I've only given him this at the moment.
Right.
I've had great talks with
Because we
Eric. He
don't know
knows.
what's going to happen with respect to the airport master plan. I didn't think it was necessary to go any further. We might get one big, large hangar in there that's going to take a plane that's larger than a Phenom. And, you know, somebody may want to build a hangar of that size. So, you know, until we've got that information, it's difficult to propel forward, I believe.
Yes, I agree. And you know, I wonder myself how much water pressure and how much water volume we can deliver, and how much sewer the current injector pump can pump off out of there. Because I think we pump up to Crawford Street, don't we?
Yeah, we do. From
Yeah.
this one over here on the sewage side, yes.
Right. So does that have the ability to handle 35 spaces, 25 hangars? I don't know.
It does, as long as they put a pump over there to pump it to this one.
Okay. All right, but somebody else is thinking about all that stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And I've got another thing. Got another thing. I've got
Carry
2 more
on.
things. Please. Okay, thank you. Mr. Mayor, I believe it's time for you to make a good commitment to get a good commitment from the city to get our base put down for the restaurant. Because we're moving forward. We need that restaurant.
You know, a lot of UK humor tonight, huh? Talking about puns and things like that. Is this one of those or
Absolutely.
what? Is that what this is? Okay, it's UK humor. I know.
It is. It is.
It is. No, Peter, that's been my intention all along. I think you met with Tony DeLuzio.
I did, yeah.
And he looked at the space, looked at the area that we're talking about. I briefly spoke to him about, he's gonna put something together for me to see. So I have some idea of
What it is.
what the scope is, what it's gonna cost, that kind of thing. But
Mm.
that's the first step, is to get that pad ready, whatever it is, whatever you call it, the concrete thing in. And then we can talk about, purchasing. I mean, I have this vision in my mind about the old stainless steel lunch buildings. They're prefab, you can buy them. I mean, it's like anything else, depending on what size it is. But I think it would have that retro look. And I think it would really add to the desirability of flying into Fitchburg Airport. But also, if people can remember when it was, when the diner was there for a number of years, it was a stop. People would go there on weekends, Saturdays, and so we want to try to revitalize that, and it'll become a destination for a number of reasons, and that's just going to be one of them. So, yeah, I'm hoping all of this infusion of federal dollars, maybe there'll be something in there that we can use for that purpose. I don't know. We're waiting to see what we're getting, but also how we can expend some of that.
Right.
So,
Right, excellent, thank you. One other thing for the commission, we submitted the budget to the mayor for next year, and this year we're going to be in the black. For next year, we're going to be $100,000 in the red. I thought that'd get your attention.
Yeah, I can hear you now.
The reason we're going to be 100,000 in the red is because we've put in to have 2 roofs completed, re-roof, as I showed Commissioner Walsh yesterday, and also a new door for Hangar 10. And I explained to the mayor that we can be in the black if he wants, but we won't repair where people's beautiful airplanes are that are getting soaked when it rains. And I just don't want to give them the opportunity to say, well, we're leaving because, I'm putting my plane in that hangar and it sucks.
yeah,
So I honestly believe we have to do something with respect to these hangars. And so my understanding, Mr. Mayor, is that the auditor is going to say some nice words to the city council. Is that correct?
yeah. He came over from the UK. His family did on the Arbella sail, back in the 15th century or something. Yeah.
Okay, so that's my
Yeah.
manager's operation report finished. If there's any questions, I'd be glad to answer them.
I have the hangars with new roofs. Would we be able to up the rent for those tenants once the roofs are dry, or is that something that's already expected?
I don't think it is something that's already expected, to be honest. In order to up the rent, we'd need to put new doors on those hangars as well, because you need 20 field hockey players to push the doors open. The doors are in disrepair as well, and we keep on adjusting them, but we need new doors on those hangars as well. Remember, there's been no repair work done on this airport for years, and now it's starting to show itself. Every time you turn around, there's something else to do. But the bright light in the future is going to pay for all this once we get things working.
So currently they pay a reduced rent because they're in a
No, they don't
dilemma,
pay a reduced rent. They pay the rent for that hangar.
and they're expecting it to be dry, and they're expecting the doors to work at this time, and they don't? Okay,
I mean, the hangars, if there's no rain, they're good. I mean, look, one of the biggest things that we've got at the moment is security. Because 2 or 3 airports around Massachusetts, and also I believe in New Hampshire, and you can comment on this, Matt, if you like, have been broken into at night. The planes have been opened and very, very expensive navigation equipment has been stolen. And these hangars are like safes because they're the old design. You know, so their planes are safe in the hangars. And this is what it's all about, safety. So, you know, I just feel that we have an obligation to make them waterproof because at the moment they leak. And I can tell you now, hangar 12 also leaks a little bit. Hangar 13 leaks a little bit. Hangar 1 leaks at the skylights. And this is all part of the process of getting the airport back to a good standard. And it's coming, it's happening.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I'm just trying to find a pitch for the city to, you know, lend us $100,000. And we can say, yeah, well, then we can do this. So, any other comments?
Well, we were hoping to pitch to the city council that we wanted the $100,000 to make our own city-owned T hangers, and it's like that project keeps going back and back, and that's a big frustrating part of how we work in the commission. And I agree with Peter, all the wants that we do need are being pushed back because the airport was improperly maintained for years, and now it's come to bite us in the butt. And those things have to be taken care of first before we think ahead and build our own city-operated T hangar. So, you know, it's take care of the initial need, and the future's just gonna have to wait.
Okay. Is anything else on the manager's operational report, Peter?
No, there isn't, but I do have a comment before you close the meeting. You'll see on there that one item has been taken off, and that was the executive session. You cannot have an executive session on an agenda unless there's an executive session going to take place. That's why I took it off. I was advised to do this by the city clerk. So there's no executive session on there. If we need to go into executive session, it's got to be open. And if we go into executive session, it's got to say why we're going into executive session. And that is for the public. It's got to be open, but not the session once it's opened. So just a pointer for going forwards. Okay. So if there's any time you need an executive session going forwards in the future, then let us know and we will put it on the agenda and the reason for going into executive session. Otherwise, you can't have an item on there, executive session, if needed. You can't do that.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah. All right. Motion to adjourn. Date and time of next regular meeting would be April 28th. 2021, 6 p.m. I would assume it's going to be a Zoom meeting again.
It's going to be in the legislative office. The mayor's going to sort this out for us.
Yeah. Are you sure?
That gives us some time. We'll be able to work something out.
I think there's plenty of room for the airport commission. There's only 10 of us. So
No, that's right. That's right.
it's not like we're breaking down the doors with
Yeah.
25 to 30 people.
Right.
So-
That's fine. We'll be able to work something out.
But Peter won't let me in.
Yeah, I want to see Ippolito in person. I want to check his mug out. I mean, I look at that beard. He's got the COVID beard going. I mean, I want to see that up close and personal.
I'll make sure I
Ippolito,
shave
you're looking
before next
scarier every time I see you. You know what I mean? I'm telling you.
That's called aging. I
Oh,
appreciate it though.
Yeah. What are you all a 19 or something? Come on.
Oh, boy.
Yes. Yes.
Yes, Peter.
Excuse me, just before you close the meeting, I've noticed we have 3 chats at the bottom that may need an answer.
Mark Bishop.
Are they all Mark?
He was just responding to in real time to your comment about asking him to email you. It's all set.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, so just to reiterate, at this time, we can expect the next meeting on Zoom unless we hear otherwise?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Motion to adjourn, it's 7:24 PM.
Make a motion.
Second.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks, guys. Good night.
Good night.